This is Ciaran. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming along. Woo! That's some nice enthusiasm. I like that. Good afternoon, you lovely people. I hope you're having a nice day. You must need a palate cleanser, a wee musical sorbet. Well, you've come to the right place. Have a drink and have a seat. There's no better remedy for your weary feet. For the show will hopefully provide an education on comedic Scottish music, old and new. I hope it makes you laugh and smile and even sing. Who knows what I'll ask you all to do. If I've never heard these songs before, that is quite alright. Perhaps you're well versed and you want to reminisce. It doesn't matter either way, you're here and you are here to stay. There's nothing in my show you'll want to miss. Throwing lunch from high-rise buildings, destroying football pitches, serious workplace injuries and evil clouds of midges, centipedes and cats, world-famous market stalls. A thing that we can all agree, Scotland has it all. Like I said before, thank you so much for coming down into this little war bunker for this afternoon's show. I know it's so nice and lovely outside, there's no place you'd rather be than in here right now. My name is Ciaran, this is my first ever show here at the Fringe, and it has been amazing. It's been so much fun, and I've loved every second of it. Thanks to people like you giving us a chance and just maybe hearing me busking in the street or taking a flyer or seeing it in the wee blue book. Thank you all for doing that. And this is a show all about Scottish comedy music, primarily kind of street songs from the folk era in the 50s, 60s, 70s. There's a wee older one thrown in there for you and maybe a newer one or two as well. The first one that I'm going to sing for you today is about a very famous marketplace in the east end of Glasgow called the Barras. And the Barras has garnered a reputation for itself as being the place to go to get anything you want, whether it be legal or illegal goods. And it's all cheap and second hand, and it's absolutely brilliant, and it's pandemonium in the markets on the weekend. But this is a song all about the Barras and its charms, written by a man called Jim McLean in 1959 and Alistair MacDonald. Also recorded it in 1972, which does sound like two names out of a Scottish name generator. I appreciate, but they're both real, legitimate men. And a bit of entomology for you, because the show's not all comedy. There's some facts for you about the Scottish language, which is why you're all here. Barras just comes from barrows. It's just how people in Glasgow say things, which is wrong. And it comes from wheelbarrows, which is how people in the markets, when it opened up between the wars, traded their goods. They just wheeled in barrows full of anything that they could get their hands on throughout the week, and they sold it for a quarter of the price. This is a song about the Barras called The Barras. There's a spot in Glasgow city that's well kenned the world out. It's more famous than the Mona Lisa's face. It is visited by royalty and rascals by the score. Everybody knows the Barras is the place. Did you ken St. Peter lost the keys to yon big pearly gates? He was feared that he'd get flung out of his job. Till a flywee Glasgow angel said, "Ah, Peter, dinna greet, you can buy one at the Barras for a bob." Oh, the Barras, they're no in Rome or Paris. No, you have to go to Glasgow's Gala Gates. They sell tickets to the moon at a ton for half a crown, and 5 bob guarantees a first class seat. Well, you've heard how Samson lost his strength, Delilah cut his hair, he was left as weak and baldy as a wane. So he flitted out to Scotland to the Barras for a cure, and he soon was strong and hairy once again. When the Romans came to Scotland many donkeys years ago, they got nae further than the Gallow Gates. For the lads who run the Barras sold them souvenirs for swords, and the flywee Glasgow Keelies had them beat. Oh, the Barras, they're no Rome or Paris. No, you have to go to Glasgow's Gala Gates. They sell tickets to the moon and a turn for half a croon, and 5 bob guarantees a first class seat. Well, one day a Frenchman noticed that the Eiffel Tower was gone. The president, when notified, grew pale. So he called out all his gendarmes, and they hunted high and low till they found it at the barras up for sale. So before I close my story, let me give you some advice. If you're after something cheap or second hand, take a trip up to the barras, for there's none that will compare with the stuff they sell at Glasgow's Barrowlands. Oh, the barras, oh, the barras, they're knowing all my parents know you have to go to Glasgow's Gallagates. They sell tickets to the moon, and a turn for half a croon, and 5 bob guarantees a first class seat. Thank you very kindly indeed. Feel free at any point in the show if you want to clap along, stamp along, whatever you want. You can make a ruckus and I don't really care. Is anyone here not from Scotland? Smashing. Good. Where are you guys from? Bristol. Okay. Is anyone more exotic than Bristol in the room? No, that's a no. China, there we go. That'll do nicely. Just a smidge more exotic than Bristol, I think. No offence to Bristol. So, what's your name? Jolly. Do you find the Scottish accent troubling to understand as she leans in? You fancy it? There's no talk after the show. Yeah, well, that's all we've got time for today, folks. Getting warm in here. That's really thrown me there, I'll be honest. Right, so Jolly, have you ever heard anyone from the northeast of Scotland speak? Because I don't think you'll say the same thing about their accent, I'll be honest. No, okay. So if anyone's familiar with people from rural Aberdeenshire, then you'll know that they speak an entirely different version of the Scottish language called Doric, and it is madness. It's I once did a ceilidh up there for a young farmers convention, and in the room it was like everyone was speaking Klingon to me. I had no idea what anyone was saying. It was absolutely crazy. And I wanted to do a song in Doric because I think it's a fascinating version of Scots. And this song actually dates back to the 1800s. And there's a bit more etymology for you because you're here for the cold hard facts. Is that Doric, the term Doric, comes from the Dorian people who lived outside of the major cities in ancient Greece. And they were viewed by the posh city folk as being uneducated, simple people. And so it's kind of said as a derogatory term towards these people living outside the main cities. And that view translated quite nicely to how people from London felt about anyone north of London, really, in the UK. And so it became this slagging for anyone that was from the north of England or from Scotland became known as Doric. And then that kind of stuck in the northeast of England. I found it fascinating, at least. And this is a song about a specific item of clothing. Because there wasn't much else to write a song about in rural Aberdeenshire in the 1800s. It's called Nicky Tams, and that is a belt or some rope that you would tie below the knee to stop all the shite getting up your legs when you were working on farms. They loved them because of how good a job they did. And this is a song, kind of a love letter to the Nicky Tams. When I was barely 12 years old, I left the parish square. My father feed me to the mains to chaw his milk and meal. I first spit on my narrow breeks to have my spinal trams, then buckle round my napping knees a pair of Nicky Tams. First I got on for Bailey Loon, and then I got on for Third, and then of course I had to get the horseman's gripping word. A loaf of bread to be my peace, a bottle for drinking drams, but you can't get through the caffee's door without your Nicky Tams. Are we coping alright with this? Yes. You are, fair enough. I didn't think so. The farmer I am with a new, he's wealthy but he's mean. Though corn is cheap, his horse is thin, his hair is fairly dean. He guards his loads wi' courtesy, for his conscience has nae qualms. When priest straps back, there's naething like a pair of nicky tams. I'm courting bonny Annie Noon, Rob Tamson's kitschy dame, for she is 45 and I am 17. She clorts a muckle piece to me with different kinds of jams, and she tells me ilka nicht that she admires my nicky tams. A morning I put on me clothes the kirkie for to gang. My collar it was unconsent, my breeks were nae nor lang. I had my Bible in my pooch, likewise my book of Psalms. Van Annie roared, "Ya muckle gate, tak off those nicky tams." The one can swear I took them off the lassie for to please, but I my breeks they lurk it up around about my knees. A wasp keep crawling up my leg in the middle of the Psalms, and never again will I rig the kirk without my nicky tams. I often thought I'd like to be a bobby on the force, but maybe I'll get on the cars to drive a pair of horse. Wherever it's my lot to be, the bobbies or the trams, I'll never forget those happy days I wore my nicky tams. Thank you very much. That's the oldest song that you'll hear in this room today, I'm sure, because everyone else is spoken word. But a bit about myself, since you're all here to see my wee show. Like I said, my name is Ciaran. You can get me on the socials at Whyte Music if you're so inclined that way. And I'm a full-time musician, so this is my full-time job, and I love it to bits. I really do. It's absolutely brilliant. Big up music crew. And that wasn't always the case. I tried to study maths at Glasgow University for 1 year, and that didn't go very well, so I left. And I actually never checked my exam results once. I did all my exams and then just didn't open them because I didn't want to feel like I failed, even though I know I did. So I left university, and after speaking to some music friends, they suggested that I should get another job to kind of supplement my income or lack thereof at the time. So I got a job at Morrison's in Paisley as part of the cleaning team from 6 to 8:30 a.m. every single day. And if you've ever tried to clean anything in Paisley, you'll understand how tough a task that really is. In only 2.5 hours as well. And there's lots of crazy stories about that job that I don't have time to get into. But the one that made me want to leave desperately was that I was cleaning around the petrol pumps, as was my daily task. And one of the very nice ladies that worked in the petrol station said to me, "Ciaran," full of apology and regret in her face, there's half of a frog at pump 4. And I was like, okay. "A frog? You say a frog?" She said, "Yes, there's a frog." And sure enough, I went out to pump 4, and there was half of a frog sitting there, splayed out, innards trailing out. And it was pretty grim, so I picked it up with my wee grabber stick, pumped it in a bag, and then a few seconds later, I heard the plop as the other half of the frog rained down from the sky from a bird that had clearly overestimated its own strength as it tried to have a hearty breakfast that day. And although it may not have been an act of God, but it certainly felt like a biblical sign that I should leave. Plagues of frogs are suddenly raining down on you. It's not the career move for you. And so then I went and did a bunch of other jobs that were kind of boring. And then a friend of mine suggested that I should work as an extra. I'm doing essay work on TV and film and stuff, which is the easiest job in the world if anyone's interested in getting some extra money, because you just show up and you walk around a fake set of a street for a day and you get paid for it. It's wonderful. I could recommend it to anyone. And so I was in the background for things like River City, for Vigil, the BBC miniseries. I was a submariner on that. Good Omens Season 2, now available on Amazon Prime, not a sponsor. But I nearly had the job of a lifetime doing that, because I signed up for this agency called BBB, which stands for Beautiful Bearded Bastards, of which I am 2 of those things. And my mum doesn't like that joke. She told me off for it when she came and saw the show. And Ian, who runs the agency, called me up not long after I signed up and said, Ciaran, it's great to have you on board. Are all your dimensions on your profile on the website correct? You know, your height, width, length. And he said, I said to him, I was like, yeah, they're all spot on, as I currently am. And he said, there's a very specific job that fits exactly your dimensions. Are you available the next couple of weeks? It's quite urgent. I said, yeah, absolutely. What is it? He said, there's a Eurovision movie currently being filmed in Glasgow and Edinburgh. And I am a big fan of the Eurovision Song Contest, so I knew that this movie was being filmed. And he said that Will Ferrell needs a body double. Yeah, right? And so I found out on that day that I am exactly the same everything as Will Ferrell. I don't know what to do with that information. So you might know what to do with that information. So he said, like, let me give you a call back after the weekend, and we'll see if you can, I really want you to get this because it will mean more money for him. And so he called me back after the weekend, very apologetically saying, someone from London's come up and taken the job off of you. It was all yours, but someone that he's worked with before came up and thank you, there's the boo, there's the fine. Yesterday no one booed that, and I was hoping someone would boo a Londoner coming up and taking another Scottish role. We see it too often. But speaking of the Eurovision Song Contest, like I said, huge fan, and my favourite acts in the Eurovision Song Contest are the ones where countries sing in their own native tongue, you know, and the native dance and native dress, and it's all very colourful, and they blend it with electronic music or metal or both, and it's this wonderful fusion of modern and culture blended together. I think it's class. And I think Scotland would do that so well at the Eurovision Song Contest, but they just keep churning out these awful like pop songs that are kind of bland and don't really represent anything. And I don't know if that's because they would want to have some British culture in there, but there's like too much culture condensed into a small space. Like, you've got all this amazing Scottish music talent and culture and Welsh. You've got all that amazing talent all across the UK. That's fine. Two of you got that one, that's good. But I found out that a man in 1966, a year where England could actually win a World Cup final. Topical humour. Yeah. Nearly today. Real shame. Real shame, that is, man. Muy bueno. A man by the name of Kenneth McKellar in 1966 represented the UK at the Eurovision Song Contest in a full kilt, ghillie shirt, looking very grand and singing wonderful songs, and finished last place with the lowest ever points tally that the UK had managed at the time. So perhaps it was a failed experiment that they just never tried again. But he wrote many great songs, Kenneth McKellar, a Paisley-born man just like myself. And he wrote this song about everyone's favourite Scottish beastie. The midges, I'm no gonna catch yous. The midges is really the limits. With teeth like piranhas, they drive you bananas if you let them get under your civets. The Lord put the Garden of Eden on earth, and it's north of the Tweed, we believe. Aye, Scotland's the place, and the whole human race started off with macadam and Eve. In 6 days or under, he finished this wonder, except for the Forth and Tay bridges. Then always a bloke for a practical joke, he made Scotland the home of the midges. The midges, I'm no gonna catch it. The midges is really the limits. With teeth like piranhas, they drive you bananas if you let them get under your summits. Back in 1314, proud Edward was keen to take Scotland into his care. But he made a U-turn when he reached Bannockburn, just a few weeks before Glasgow Fair. The midges let loose by King Robert the Bruce, straight into the English they tore. So they ran off in tears, and for 600 years they've been blocking the M74. The midges, I'm not gonna kid yous. The midges is really the limit. With teeth like piranhas, they drive you bananas if you let them get under your summit. Now never forget when the sun's going to set and the midges are eyes on Loch Eck. Like the vampires you see played by Christopher Lee, they'll give you a pain in the neck. You can smack them and whack them, in vain you'll attack them. They know every move that you make. If you manage to kill you, another 500,000 are ready to come to the wake. The midges, I'm no gonna kid yous. The midges is really the limit. With teeth like piranhas, they drive you bananas if you let them get under your summit. Now Torquil the Piper, he's a giant of a man with a sporran as long as your arm. And in Oban, he's known for the sound of his drone and a pibroch of real Highlands charm. But they're sighing and sobbing, the ladies of Oban. Torquil is not what he was, since a midge in Glenbranter got hold of his chanter and carried it off in his jaws. The midges, I'm no gonna kid yous. The midges is really the limit. With teeth like piranhas, they drive you bananas if you let them get under your summit. Thank you very much. I'm gonna pause for a brief second and give you the spiel that you all want to hear, and that is that this is a free show, courtesy of the PBH Free Fringe, which is a wonderful, wonderful organisation that's helped people like me try and do a show at the Fringe. I never would have given it a shot if I had to pay the literally thousands of pounds that it would have been taken to hire a venue and pay the registration fee for the Fringe itself. So it's thanks to the PBH that you're all here sweating and listening to a man sing some Scottish songs. You're all welcome. So because you can get in for free, that means that at the end of the show I will be at the top of the stairs doing my little beggar routine that I'm quite used to as a busker, going, please give me some money, Edinburgh's too expensive. But I didn't want you just to pay for your ticket, essentially, because that's what everyone else is doing. I wanted you to go away with something in your hand. So for £0, because the Fringe is expensive, so if you wanted to come to show for free and hopefully enjoy it, I hope you have enjoyed it and I will not take it personally. Take these little flyers, booklets with you, so you can teach your English pals how to speak proper English. And show the songs to all your friends. If you want to give me a couple quid, then that's appreciated to the bottom of my heart. You can have a Scotland Has It All pen. Ooh. Thank you. If you want to give me a fiver, then you can get either a couple pens or you can take away one of my own EPs, because I've got a few excess stock left and I would like to get rid of them. It's not a good a prospect, I'll give you that. If you want to give me a tenner or more, then you can walk away with a Scotland Has It All t-shirt. I know, it's great for the tourists. Or you can walk away with a 15-track album full of Scottish songs, covers, and one original song that you'll hear at the end of the show called Scotland Has It All. Hey. Oh, that got an A, not a ooh, okay. Interesting. Keep that in mind. That's absolutely fine. Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate that. That's okay. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for checking it out. I do appreciate it. This is my interlude music. We good, Scott? Aye. Cool. Aye. said in the least Scottish way possible. So at the end of the show, I'll have a wee card reader and a wee bag. If anyone does feel so gracious, then I'll be up there, chat away to me, and grab some Scotland Has It All merch. Anyway, I'll actually continue the show now that you paid so much to come see. From midges to centipedes, we like singing songs about ugly little creatures. And so this is one written by a man called Matt McGinn, who is a legend of the Scottish music scene, and I could have filled a full show like this just with songs that he wrote. And influential beyond just Scottish music, he was big in the kind of folk revival scene in the 60s and was palling with Bob Dylan at the time. Billy Connolly played for him and his band, and sadly he died very young, which is why he's not more of a household name to this day. And so a lot of his songs were lost to time. He never really wrote them down, never recorded them, and so that's kind of what folk music is all about, is passing these songs down through generations and keeping legacies of people like Matt McGinn alive. So I wanted to do this song as a tribute to him. And it's about a centipede from a posh wee village called Kirkcudbright down in Dumfries and Galloway. Oh, the wee Kirkcudbright centipede, she was very sweet. She was very proud of every one of her 100 feet. Early every morning, her neighbours came to glance. She always entertained them with a beautiful little dance. As leg number 94 gave 95 a shot. Legs number 1 and 2 were twisted out in front. Legs number 9 and 10 came wriggling up the side. And 73 and 74 were doing the polyglides. Now her neighbour, Jenny Longlegs, full of jealousy, was mad. She went out and bought herself a pencil and a pad. She came a month of mornings and she made a careful note of every step the centipede made, and this is what she wrote. As leg number 94 gave 95 a shot. Legs number 1 and 2 were twisted out in front. Legs number 9 and 10 came wriggling up the side. And 73 and 74 were doing the polyglides. Now armed with exact notation, little Jenny Longlegs tried to dance just like the centipede. She failed and nearly cried. She grabbed hold of the centipede and said, "Now have a look. Show me how to do these steps I've written in my book." The centipede said, "Do I do that?" and tried to demonstrate. She hadn't thought it out before and didn't do too great. Her 100 feet got twisted and she wound up in a fankle. She fractured 14 shin bones, 7 kneecaps and an ankle. His legs number 1 and 2 were tied with 3 and 4. Legs number 5 and 6 were cancelled on the floor. Leg number 17 was attacked by number 10. And 98 and 99 will never dance again. Oh, the wee Kirkcudbright centipede, she suffered in terrible pain. And all of the bugs were very surprised the day she danced again. And now she tells her neighbours, anyone who comes to see, never try an explanation of what comes naturally. As leg number 94 gave 95 a shot. Legs number 1 and 2 were twisted out in front. Legs number 9 and 10 came wriggling up the side. And 73 and 74 were doing the polyglide. As leg number 94 gave 95 a shot. Legs number 1 and 2 were twisted out in front. Legs number 9 and 10 came wriggling up the side. And 73 and 74 were doing the polyglide. Doing the polyglides. Thank you very kindly indeed. A lot of people, whenever I'm busking, whenever I'm playing in the pubs and stuff, especially if they're of a certain vintage, will say, how do this fresh-faced boy that I am at the ripe age of 26, how do you know all these old songs? And it's because my mum and dad were both are still alive and both very, very musical. It's not a tribute show, they're doing well, they just live in Dunoon. And both very musical, and so is my gran and granddad, my aunt and uncle, everyone in my Scottish side of the family. And so whenever we'd have birthdays, Christmases, family gatherings, it was very normal, it was customary for us to gather in the music room and we'd open up books and folders full of old music and we'd all take a turn singing a song as our party piece. And I thought that was what every teenager growing up in Paisley did. So it was a bit of a culture shock when I went to pals' houses when I was a teenager in high school and we just drank. That's all we did. We drank and played GTA and FIFA. That was it. And there was no music room, which I thought every house had. So I was from the right side of the tracks in Paisley. And we would also take our instruments on holiday with us, and that's how we made pals when we went abroad. We would usually go to the States because my mum's American, and so we've got friends and family over there. We'd take the guitar, my dad's violin, and we'd go and we'd make friends and stay at strangers' houses and play music with them. And that was so wonderful. It was such a nice way of making friends that I'm still in contact with to this day. And that was part of the reason why when I grew up I wanted to play music, because I saw the kind of how wonderful it was to be able to travel and just make friends that way, and it was so nice. So I got the chance to go to Greece when I was about 20 years old to play in a hotel in Kos, just travelled over myself, and sure enough, if you're Scottish, you're already winning because everyone wants to be your pal and talk about whiskey. And if you can play music as well, then you're just kind of set. People will naturally kind of gravitate towards wherever you are, which is mad. It's crazy to think about. And it also led me to play in Germany last year. I was busking up in Elgin, of all places, up in the Murray Coast. And a German couple were standing and watching me for a while. Came up and talked to me, heard all the Scottish music and loved it, and said, we really like all the Scottish music. We own a whiskey shop in Cologne. Would you be up for coming over and playing for like the anniversary of the whiskey shop opening in September? Yes, of course. Why do you have to ask me that question? And, we were chatting away for a few minutes, and I know Cologne purely based not only on football but on Phantasialand, which is the main theme park near Cologne, and I spent all of my childhood playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, so I'm obsessed with theme parks and roller coasters as an adult male. It's quite sad, really. So they were quite impressed I knew somewhere local, and so they said, we'll pay you, we'll put you up for a few nights, and we'll get you a ticket to Phantasialand as part of the deal. And it's really lucky for you guys that I don't have time to talk about how much I love roller coasters in here. Oh, I could go on all day, because I've got no one to speak to about it. So I went over, and the German hospitality is unbelievable, second to none. Whenever I was in the whiskey shop while I was there, they would just give me free whiskey, free beer, make me homemade scones and coffee, whatever I wanted. They would just give it to me and be like, no charge, whatever, free, all free stuff. And Peter, who owns the shop, said to me just before I left, he said, have you ever done a whiskey comparison tasting before? And I said no, because I'm not really a big whiskey drinker, as much as I like to pretend that I am to make friends abroad. So has anyone here done a whiskey comparison tasting before? Specifically, okay. It is lethal, and I didn't know this going into it. So I went to this whiskey comparison tasting on an empty stomach. And it turns out that what you do is you get 2 drams of whiskey. One is maybe 21 years old, one's 3 years old, or one's from Islay, one's from Jura, even though they all taste the same. And you're meant to say what one you prefer, and at the end of X amount of rounds, then Peter tells you if you've got good taste or bad taste, basically. And so there was two drams for 8 rounds of whiskey, which is an extraordinary amount of alcohol. Those Germans could drink me to shame. But it was all free, it was brilliant. And so Peter asked me afterwards if I enjoyed the experience, if I found out any whiskies that I liked, and I was like, this all tastes pretty good after a certain point, Peter, I won't lie. But I'll be honest, I'm more of a gin drinker. And he took that very well, considering that was probably spitting in his face. And he said, there's a gin tasting in 10 minutes time. Come along, be our guest for the gin tasting. So I'm Scottish, so I can't say no to free alcohol. And so I went along, enjoyed many more nice gins, and I stumbled out onto the street after making a right arse of myself in front of all these locals that had paid good money to do 2 fancy tastings. And so I stumbled out, and as every good drunk Scotsman does, I want to find the best local kebab. So I ask a man in a corner shop, I say, where's the best local kebab shop? And he says, if you go to Pasha, you'll have a good time. Which is odd phrasing for a kebab shop. as much as a kebab is indeed a very good time. And so I thought, well, I better look up what this Pasha place is, just to make sure I'm not going anywhere seedy. So here are some of the reviews that I saw on Google Maps. Pasha is a must for every Cologne men's trip. It's a good deal, starting at €40, safer than Las Vegas, which is too expensive for a kebab, but not much more expensive than the kebab houses in Edinburgh during the Fringe. And the girls are very pretty and friendly. The prices are reasonable. I found out that this random supermarket worker at 1 o'clock in the morning tried to send me to the world's largest brothel. He thought that's what I needed in that moment, after consuming so many units of alcohol that I would have been sick on any woman that would have approached me. And so it advertises itself as being the world's largest and 12 stories tall. It's an office block and over 200 employees, as they delicately put it. And you're about to hear the worst segue of the entire show, of the entire Fringe, of any show that you'll see. This is the absolute worst one, but I'm trying it every day to see if it gets any laughs. I thought that you couldn't throw sandwiches off the top of that tall building. It's fine, scratch that out. That's fine. Because this next song is about throwing sandwiches at very tall buildings. And it does involve you knowing what song's going to come next. I agree, it's terrible, that's why I said it beforehand. But it's a very specific problem that people encountered around the major cities in Scotland, where kids would be playing outside, and so the families would make sandwiches for the kids as their lunch, a piece, as we call it, and throw it out the window so the kids could just eat it in the garden without having to come into the house and get their carpets all mucky. And when families moved to high-rise flats, when there was a population boom, they realised that they couldn't throw the sandwiches from high-rise flats because they either wouldn't hit the ground or they would hit the ground in various pieces. Thank you. So this is a song called the Geely Peace Song, written by a man called Adam McNaughton back in 1967. It's probably one of the more well-known Scottish folky street songs out there. And if you can't read the book, Geely Peace is a jam sandwich. That's pretty much all you need to know for the song's context. I'm a skyscraper weight and I live on the 19th floor, and I'm not gonna take play anymore. Since I moved to Castle Malk I'm wasting right away, cause I'm getting one less meal every day. Oh, you can't fling pieces out of 20-story flats. 700 hungry waves will testify to that. If it's butter, cheese or chili, if the breed is plain or fat, the odds against it reaching out for 1991. Yeah, please do sing along. If you don't know the words, that's what this is for. On the first day my ma flung out a Dodder Hovis Broom. It went skating at the windy and went up instead of down. Now every 27 hours it comes back into sight, for my piece went into orbit and became a satellite. Oh, you can't flip pieces out of 20-story flats. 700 hungry wains will testify to that. If it's butter, cheese or chili, if the breed is plain or fat, the odds against it reaching out on 1991. On the second day my ma flung me a pea soup once again. It went and hit the pilot of a fast low-flying plane. He scraped it off his goggles, shouting through the intercoms, the Clydeside Reds have done me with a breeding Geely bomb. Oh, you can't fling pieces out of 20-story flats. 700 hungry waves will testify to that. If it's butter, cheese or chili, if the breed is plain or fat, the odds against it reaching out on 1991. On the third day my ma flung me a pea soup once. No, that's the second verse. On the third day my ma thought she would try another throw. The Salvation Army band were playing down below. Onward Christian Soldiers was the tune they should have played, but the Oompa Man was playing on my peace and marmalade. Oh, you can't fling pieces out of 20-story flats. 700 hungry Waynes will testify to that. If it's butter, cheese or chili, if the breed is plain or bad, the odds against it reaching out for 1991. I'm glad this isn't getting professionally recorded or anything like that. Well, I've rode away to Oxfam to try and get some aid, and all the Waynes in Castlemilk have formed a peace brigade. We're gonna march to George's Square demanding civil rights, like nae mayor hooses or peace flinging heights. So you can't fling pieces out to 20-story flats. 700 hungry Waynes will testify to that. If it's butter, cheese or chili, if the breed is plain or bad, the odds against it reaching out are 1991. 1991. That was the one y'all came for, clearly. All the other ones are just dross compared to the JP song. So sadly, this is going to be the penultimate song of the show. I know, heartbreaking stuff. Have we got any football fans in today? Not a single one. Look at yourself, sir. Don't be sheepish about it. I love football. I'm a St Mirren fan. I'll go first. Welcome. My name's Ciaran Whyte. I support St Mirren.
Somebody's got to.
Somebody's got to. We have won 6 games in a row. I started the season the best for the first time since 2005. Who do you support?
The big good at yesterday, that's all I'm saying.
That's alright, you know, that's fine, you know. Yeah, Rangers, that's Rangers for anyone who doesn't keep up to date with the Viaplay Cup, which is most people, I think. That's fine, you know, whatever, I don't care. I mean, I hate you and Celtic equally, to be honest. Contain yourself. You're wheezing from the corridor. From my friend, help me out. Scotland national team. For anyone who may or may not follow them, we're actually good now. That's good to know. So I've already spoken to my whiskey shop owner in Germany about playing some gigs when the Euros are on next year, if we qualify. Yeah, and he says we'll talk about it later. Because he knows how much whiskey I'll drink in Scotland and the Euros. But I wanted to do a Scotland football song because we're a great nation of being tongue-in-cheek and kind of not taking ourselves too seriously, while also thinking we're the greatest nation on earth. We told that line quite well. And so I would have loved to have done the 1978 World Cup song for Scotland, which is called We're on the March with Ali's Army, which has my favourite lyric of all time in it, which is, we're representing Britain, we've got to do or die, for England can't do it because they didn't qualify. Oh, that's great, I should get it tattooed. But what I'm going to do instead is do an unofficial song, written by a duo called Gabber Lunsey, who are also very iconic in the Scottish folk scene. And they wrote a song about a specific game of football, June 4th, 1977, at the old Wembley Stadium. It was part of the British Home Championships, which is a competition that no longer exists, in part due to antics on this very day. There's 100,000 people inside the old stadium, 2/3 of which, by all reports suggest, were the Tartan Army. And we won 2-1 on that majestic day 20 years before I was born. I remember it so well. And Scotland fans stormed onto the pitch after the game and caused a ruckus, and we broke the crossbars and destroyed the pitch, and it was a very unsavoury proceedings there. I have to say that legally. It seemed pretty cool, to be honest. And people I know to this day still have chunks of the old Wembley Stadium in their grass, in their garden, or around their house as a souvenir. So this is a song about that day, and about the friendly rivalry between Scotland and England. Oh, I wear a tartan bonnet and a scarf around my throat, and I can sing the flower of Scotland every single note. Oh, we're going into London town to paralyse the underground. We're just the happy hooligans of Wembley. So it's o'er the border if you dare, and down to London for a tear. We're just the happy hooligans of Wembley. Well, when Scotland's playing England, oh, it really fills my heart. We are the flags and banners, aye, we surely look the part. But when I lose it's all the same. We didn't come to see the game. We're just the happy hooligans of Wembley. Oh, there's 40 in my party, aye, and that's including me. We haven't all got tickets, in fact we've only 3. And 3 will win the lucky draw, the rest will be climbing o'er the wall. We're just the happy hooligans of Wembley. So it's o'er the border if you dare, and into London for a tear. We're just the happy hooligans of Wembley. And we're gonna see how many pints that we can sink away. We're going to drink old London dry, we'll drink it dry today. And before we've even seen a ball, we'll piss it up against the wall. We're just the happy hooligans of Wembley. So it's o'er the border if you dare, and into London for a tear. Just the happy hooligans of Wembley. And now the fun is over, and we've finished all the beer. We couldn't go back to Scotland without a souvenir. So maybe for a wee bit lark, we'll dig up half of Wembley Park. We're just the happy hooligans of Wembley. And now we're back in Scotland after all the deeds I've done. We didn't really give a damn if Scotland lost or won. When we met the English, had our fun, reminded them of Bannockburn. We're just the happy hooligans of Wembley. So it's o'er the border if you dare, and down to London for a tear. We're just the happy hooligans of Wembley. We have sadly now reached the end of the show. I've only got one more song for y'all to play. Oh, the scunner. And I have only 5 minutes left to do a 6-minute song, so that'll be good fun. And thank you so much for coming down. I hugely appreciate it. Thank you for checking it out, giving it a shot. Please tell your friends and family it's come along at 3 o'clock, because during the week it's pretty dead, I'll be honest. So if you've got any pals like me who don't work a proper job and want something to do at 3 o'clock on a Monday in August, this is the place to be. And not on the Irish show, because they get too many people in there. They're like, oh sure, I'm sure we could squeeze you in if you just stand here by the curtain and you've got to cup someone else's balls at the same time. And they still decided to go there instead of here, that's right. This is a song my dad wrote. You may have heard me singing it on the streets earlier, and also crowd participation. You may have noticed the show is called Scotland Has It All. You may have noticed that this t-shirt you can get for only £10 says Scotland Has It All. The CD that you can get for only £10 and online at every distributor, it's called Scotland Has It All. So what do you think that you're going to need to sing?
Scotland Has It All!
Scotland Has It All! Nothing gets past you lots. My song wrote this dad. My dad wrote this song about trying to figure out where to go on holiday. And so it's aptly called the holiday song. And at the end of every chorus I'll do this, and you sing Scotland Has It All. Because I'm not going to sing it, and I want everyone that was in the Irish show to know they should have been in here instead. This is the holiday song by Gordon Whyte. Well, I'm trying to book my holidays this summer, and I'd like to head up north or to the Isles. I'm no interested in 2 weeks in Ibiza, to sleep all day and then spend my nights out on the tiles. I've been working like a navvy all through winter. What my body craves just now is UV light, and they say God gazes favourably on Scotland. I just wish the sun would shine down just as bright, 'cause we've got glens and hills, shopping mills and rivers full of fish, beaches, woods and fancy foods of every kind you'd wish. Castles, theatre, opera, music, art, sports for big and small. Really, we've got windways, Snow Street, Hill, Sun, Fog.
Scotland has it all!
Very good. That was a nice wee warm-up. You can do that better. If Scotland were an island like Mallorca, it ought to be a tourist paradise, a mecca for both clubber and the coopie. But would you really be prepared to pay the price? The water at your tap would taste revolting. You'd be mugged by timeshare salesmen dawn till dark, and the Germans would be rushing out at breakfast to put their towels on all the benches in your parks. Cause we've got glens and hills, shopping mills and rivers full of fish, beaches, woods and fancy foods of every kind you'd wish. Castles, theatre, opera, music, art, sports for big and small. We've got wind, rain, snow, sleet, hills and falls.
Scotland has it all.
Very good. If people came to Scotland on safari, and lions and zebras roamed on Rannoch Moor, you couldn't just go rambling in the country without a shotgun in your handbag, that's for sure. The mosquitoes would bring all kinds of diseases, checking all your shoes for snakes would drive you spare, and Loch Ness would have a mystery no longer because of all the crocs and hippos living there. We've got glens and hills, shopping mills and rivers full of fish, beaches, woods and fancy foods of every kind you'd wish. Castles, theatre, opera, music, art, sports for big and small. We've got wind, rain, snow, sleet, hills and falls.
Scotland has it all.
Hey! For long white beaches just head out to Seaton Sands. The Serengeti's no a patch on our Blair Drummond. Don't cross the globe to Rio if it's street parades you want. Just join the west of Scotland, orange walks, the streets are humming and the bands are coming. It usually divides a room. Sorry. If Scotland found itself down in the tropics, you'd think the country's stock would only rise. But before we all rush out to get Brazilians, just mind the monsoons that will tumble from the skies. The humidity will make each step an effort, sweating buckets just from picking up a beer. And when the rainy season kicks in late in autumn, most of Paisley, Perth and Fife would disappear. Cause we've got glens and hills, shopping mills and rivers full of fish, beaches, woods and fancy foods of every kind you'd wish. Castles, theatre, opera, music, art, sports for big and small. We've got wind, rain, snow, sleet, hills and falls.
Scotland has it all.
Hey, you're almost halfway there. Just a wee joke, we're almost there. Now I've got my summer plans all sorted, and it's 3 weeks at the USA for me. So no more talk about the changes in the climate. The ones we've got keep things as perfect as can be. So I'll make the most of my time in the sunshine, for it makes my spirit laugh and sing and cheer. Then I'm on the plane and back again to Scotland, because I love it 49 weeks of the year. We've got glens and hills, shopping mills and rivers full of fish, beaches, woods and fancy foods of every kind you'd wish. Castles, theatre, opera, music, art, sports for big and small. We've got wind, rain, snow, sleet, hills and falls.
Scotland has it all.
We've got glens and hills, shopping mills and rivers full of fish, beaches, woods and fancy foods of every kind you'd wish. Castles, theatre, opera, music, art, sports for big and small. We've got wind, rain, snow, sleet, hills and falls. Scotland has it all. Scotland has it all. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming down today. I do hugely appreciate it. I'll be at the top of the stairs in just a minute's time. Yeah, have a good rest of your day and see you later. That's what I